Code of honor, number 5, seek the truth. The truth, as we learn in the 12 Principles to Life Masteries, can be harsh at times. You know, why didn't I get this done? It wasn't a high enough priority. You know, that can be harsh. You know, what are you doing? I don't know. Well, I didn't ask you what you knew. I asked you what you thought. If you don't think, just be honest and say, I'm not thinking today. The truth can be very, very harsh. But it strengthens us and it helps us, and we gain deep, deep self-confidence. In raising 7 kids, probably have learned a few things about children. And one of the things that I think I've learned is a little bit about self-esteem. And one of the principles that we've taught our children at a very young age is to be producers rather than consumers. And so our kids, even before they could talk, they can understand that concept. A very young child can understand that concept. Do you want to produce or do you want to be a consumer? A producer will leave the room clean, more clean than when they went into that room. A consumer will leave, you know, a child that's consuming will leave that room in a mess. And so when you have 7 children, you're forced a little bit more into, you got to get them to producers, not consumers. People say, how do you have 7 kids? And it's like, well, get them to producing. My theory is it's like employees, or it's like team members, or it's like anything. If you have employees producing more than they consume, then you can have an unlimited number of employees. I have the same concept about kids. If the kids are producing more than they're consuming, you can have an infinite number of children. So, you know, I don't know about that, but that's my theory. And so I remember a number of our kids, before they could even speak, we'd say, do you want to be a producer, Timmy, or a consumer? He'd say, doozer, Dad, doozer. He couldn't even say producer, but he understood the concept of production versus consumption. I would challenge you, find somebody with high self-esteem, high self-confidence, and they're producing probably more than they're consuming. Find somebody with low self-esteem and they're consuming more than they're producing. Surface self-esteem comes from doing things that we're good at. Deep self-esteem comes from doing things that we struggle at and we may even, quote-unquote, fail. I remember when Melissa, my 18-year-old daughter, when she was very young, she's an expressive driver personality, tons of energy, you know, has a million ideas, has struggles in watching the details. And she was doing some work and it connected into other people. I think it was probably at the age of, 9 maybe. And she wasn't paying attention, didn't get all of her work done, and I had to go back up to the office in the morning, like at 4 o'clock, 5, because I had something else. And I said, Melissa, if you want to finish this up, to finish this up, you need to get up at 4:30. She started crying and said, Daddy, she's like, I'm not a real good morning person, Dad, and I just, I'm not good with details, and please don't make me go up in the morning. And she was crying on, and finally I said, well, Melissa, you don't have to go up. And she was so excited. She gave me a hug. She said, thank you, Dad. You're the best dad. And then she turned to walk away, and I said, I just want you to know, honey, that you won't be happy with that decision. She paused, turned around, and she says, what do you mean? And I said, well, honey, see, we're designed to be producers. It's a choice. We either choose to produce or choose to consume. And you're going to let other people down if you don't follow through. But Dad, I'm going to let him down anyways if I don't do it right. I said, no, this is what's interesting, honey. If you try and you get up early in the morning and you try your very best and it still doesn't work, you'll have high self-confidence because you tried. So even if it doesn't, even if you fail, you still have better self-esteem because you tried. If you don't even try, honey, you're going to have low self-esteem and you're not going to feel good about yourself. She paused and she looked at me in her cute way and she's like, why is that, Dad? And I said, I don't know, it's just a natural law. And then she kind of skipped away. And a while later she came back, she said, Dad, I've been thinking about going up. Can I go up with you in the morning? She not only went up that next morning, but she dotted the I's, crossed the T's. She did all the things that she was supposed to do. She did a great job. And that's a memory that she'll remember for her whole life, that while she's not great at details, she can, if she really applies herself, to be able to do that. The truth is like that, to where it's harsh. It doesn't feel good often in the short term, but it's amazing in the long term. So if we want to reach beyond our dreams and goals in every area of our life, applying the code of honor for ourselves and those around us in seeking the truth is really, really important. There's a number of other natural laws. One of those is the teenage principle. And the teenage principle is teenagers are overconfident in things they should be underconfident, underconfident in things they should be overconfident. So they think they can do things they can't do and don't think they can do things they can do. It's interesting because that same daughter, Melissa, when she was just first learning how to drive, first time backing out of the driveway, she was really nervous, really scared, and she's 15 years old. And I said, honey, you today are the best driver that you'll probably ever be. She's like, I don't understand, Dad. And I said, see, you are at a conscious incompetence. You're a terrible driver, and you know it. She's like, gee, Dad, I think, thanks, I'm not sure. I said, see, what's going to happen, honey, is you're going to gain confidence in driving, and you're going to have overconfidence. And so in driving, honey, make sure that you're careful that you don't become overconfident. She drove for quite a while and became confident, much better driver. And one day, I came back from a business trip, backing out of this same driveway that many months before she had backed out, fine on. And a friend in the back seat said, Melissa, did you tell your dad you almost hit the tree? She looked at her friend, looked at me, and she said, gee, I had not told him that, thank you very much. And I just simply said, Melissa, do you know why you almost hit the tree? And she's like, no, Dad. I said, it's because you didn't listen to me. The first time you backed out, you didn't almost hit the tree. But the next time, you did. And or sometime later you did when you gained confidence because you became overconfident. And I think that made a big impact on her. And the truth of the matter is, we all have, every one of us have teenage moments where we're overconfident in things we should be underconfident, we're underconfident in things we should be overconfident. How does that connect back into the truth? Well, Katrina, my 15-year-old, she's pretty outspoken. Love her to pieces. Absolutely adore her. She's an amazing young woman. I went on a business trip, took my wife, spoke in Disney World actually, and came back, and she had a lot of confrontation with both of her grandmas. And so in looking at this, what we're going to do is in one of the future sessions, we're going to share that natural law with you. Seeking the truth and understanding that is amazing to change our life forever.